from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whether you've ever been to a shopping mall that is used, is that like, do shopping malls, they used to use like some sort of like fiber, like similar to what you'd put inside of pillows as pretend snow. You know, does anybody else really say, what is that puffy stuff? Is that like the inside of pillows? It's supposed to be snow? Once covered shopping malls everywhere during the season, the holiday season, which this is not. So you're wondering, Scoots, why is that on your brain? I say, I don't know. I just know that, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I wish I did. I mean, if we could clear that stuff out, I'm sure there'd be more space for something else. But probably be something, my brain would say, great, now I got more time. Now that you've cleared all that pillow fill, I can talk to you more about stuff at bedtime. And I have more resources to process things at bedtime when you're trying to get to sleep. So if you're new, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, or you could relate to what I'm talking about, or you're just confused, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Sleep With Me. It's a podcast to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff while you fall asleep, to be your friend in the deep, dark night, to be your bore bud, not really to put you to sleep, but to, just be there while you fall asleep, talking, distracting, keeping you company. This show is very, very different than most things out there. So give it a few tries and see how it goes. It's just like calling a goofy friend and saying, talk to me about something, but talk to me about almost, I'm not going to pay attention, but I want you to talk about something intentionally, but also make sure it's kind of like about nothing, but it should be about something in case I want to listen. Like, here's the thing. If you asked me this, if you said, what's one of the compacts, can you barely put a file on my face? No, don't put any files on anybody's face. Is subconscious. Subconscious. I can't even pronounce that. What is that? It was so weird. What kind of Freudian slip was that? Put a file on my face. Why? I mean, I guess if you were taking a nap at the office, I mean, now that I think about it, if you could sleep like if you were in a chair, a manila file, like with like the one, that's what a file is, right? I mean, that might be pretty good. It gives you plenty of room for your nose and your mouth, but it also covers your eyes. Probably won't fall off if you're leaning back in your chair or laying down. Won't provide much pillowing, but I have no idea what I was saying before. Put a smile. Oh, can you barely put a smile on my face? I think I just may have, you say people suddenly... we tried to get everybody to go back to the office, Brad. Here's another report on back to the office. News to snooze to. Yeah, we got everybody back in the office, and then this sleep podcaster gave everybody this great idea. I don't know how it wasn't worldwide already, but people started, taking naps at their office with file folders over their face. Gently placed. And then what they started doing is putting decorations on there to express themselves. And efficiency is through the roof, Brad. I don't know what to tell you. It's a paradox. If you have any extra money, Jim, I'd like to sell you. I got a paradox you could buy down the road. Well, hardy har har. Isn't this supposed to be not even the beginning of a sleep podcast, but just the teaser and lead-in for a sleep podcast? Well, Jim, Brad, it is. I'm Scooter, and glad you're here. This is. You're right. You're right. I was supposed to much more efficiently. It's too bad I don't work at your. Wait, how much are those docs? Like, did you say one of you say you're selling a pair of docs? Because would they be like sight unseen? They're laughing, Brad and Jim. Paradox. Oh, I get it now. In that sense, I already have the docs and I don't even need them. I get it now. Okay, so welcome to Sleep With Me. It is a bit different. What we got coming up is support. So paying for the podcast is optional. If you prefer to listen without the sponsor support, there's ways to do that, but most people choose to do it that way. Then there's a long meandering intro, separate from the sport, made to ease you into bedtime. And then there'll be a bedtime story later on, episodically modular series called Multiplex. And yeah, that's everything. I'm glad you're here, and yeah, just see how it goes. Maybe you're snoozing at work and increasing your, and it's a workplace that's snooze friendly. I mean, why not? I guess I could think of 1,000 reasons, Jim. Okay, well, great. Well, that's why you're only imaginary figures in my mind. So, yeah, welcome to Sleep With Me. It's a podcast that's here to keep you company and put you to sleep. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. All right, but this is Scoots here. This is where ask you to, hey, if you think about signing up for Sleep With Me Plus at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, with just a few questions. If you're new to this show, just ignore this message. Or if you only listen to Sleep With Me occasionally, or it can be easily replaced by another show, not important. Do you listen to Sleep With Me regularly? Yes. But yeah, does it improve your life in any way at all? And would you miss Sleep With Me if we stopped making it? Like, how much would you be willing to give on an annual basis or a monthly basis to say, hey, go ahead and start that podcast back up? So this is a way of not doing that. I'm asking if the answers to those questions are yes. Yeah, you're a regular listener. Yes, Sleep With Me improves your life. Yes, I could and would pay for the show. If it was missing from my life, I'd pay to get it back. Or if you lost it, you'd say, oh, where has my Sleep With Me podcast gone? Could you help me find it? And this is a reward, whatever, $120. I need my year of Sleep With Me back. Or you would find a way to support the show if you said, well, now I got to put up a poster. If the answers are yes, I do need, we're kind of in that place right now, and the whole podcasting industry is in that place more or less, where it's like, hey, I really need you to think about supporting the show right now, if the answer is yes to those questions. So we don't have to go through, oh, where has my Sleep With Me podcast gone? Because I don't want that. I love making the show. It does take a team of people to make the show. So think about it, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. If you get a lot out of the show and you'd miss it and you'd say, oh, where has my Sleep With Me podcast gone? Sign up for sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And I'll thank you. Believe me, I'll send you a video and say thanks. Thanks so much. All right, everybody. It's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix Sleep. Do yourself a favor, go to helixsleep.com/sleep and take that Helix quiz. That was about 4 years ago that I took the Helix quiz, got matched with the Helix Dusk Luxe, which is a perfect mattress for me and the way I sleep. Because the thing is, the Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe collection, the newly released Helix Elite collection. They have a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, even a mattress made just for kids. And how would you know which one is going to fit you and your body? You just take that Helix Sleep quiz. You find the perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. That personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door, free of charge. And Helix knows there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new mattress. And here's the thing. Everybody's unique. Everybody sleeps differently. And that is why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from. Each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. If you're like me, I sleep on my stomach and my side. I sleep hot, so I want to stay cool. And that's what happened. I took the quiz. I got matched with the Helix Dusk Luxe. I love my Helix Dusk Luxe, and the way I know is every time I leave town, I cannot wait to get back. That first night back in my Helix Dusk Luxe, it's like I'm in a state of sleep bliss. Not only is it the best mattress I've slept on, but setup is fast and easy. Helix mattresses are delivered in a box straight to your door for free. And Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep and use the code HelixPartner20. This is their best offer yet. It won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, and the Sleepy Supporter Zone is probably going to be changing here in the future. Our longtime editor, Karl W., who edited the Sleepy Supporter Zones, crossed that great rainbow bridge to the place where all the dogs run free And Karl was a huge animal person, so Karl's up there running with those sweet, sweet dogs we all love. Karl's been an amazing person to work with. He's really going to be missed. I know all those dogs are happy to have him, but we're going to miss him here. Karl's been with the show since 2016. I met him at a podcast meetup years before that. And you can find out more, I shared more about it on social media and Discord and on like our support channels and stuff like that. But Karl was a part of the community. Karl took action to create positive change, just like we talk about. Even when I was looking for places and different things, Karl would tell me about them. And so we're going to be sharing in the show notes of our shows 2 places you could support. New York City Mesh and Sean Casey Animal Rescue. Those are 2 causes that are very close to Karl's heart that Karl was actively involved in. And if you want to support the show, if you want to support all that hard work, years and years of hard work behind the scenes so that you could get a good night's sleep that Karl did. And then when Karl wasn't editing the show, Karl was using his time to support other people, other beings in our world. So please consider supporting one of those 2 organizations. And then we'll kind of go from here of like what changes we're going to make with the Sleepy Supporter Zone and stuff like that. But please check out those organizations. If you're in need of extra support, there's lists of organizations in there. And there's also other organizations if you want to be a part of positive change. Mystery Bar, there's a lot of people who help on this show, including Karl W. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Karl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bar. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support your scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcript.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget to check out the show notes and support some of those organizations that Karl supported. And what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be, thoughts, thinking thoughts about the past, the present, the future. So thoughts you're thinking about, feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally related to those thoughts or feelings that are just there. It could be physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be traveling, you could have guests, you could be going somewhere, you could be going through something, maybe work a different schedule. Maybe you're not feeling great, maybe it's baffling. Maybe you just don't know why you can't sleep. Whatever it is, I'm glad you're here, and I really hope I can help you fall asleep. The only reason I list through some of the stuff that keeps listeners awake is so you're not alone. And I think that is an important element to keep pointing out episode after episode after episode, because it you just can feel that way. Even throughout my life when I've had sleep problems, there's been times I've had other people in the room with me. There's been times I've been in a house full of people. I always have my sidekick, Koa. She refers to me as her. Well, actually, I wish she referred to me as her sidekick, my dog, Koa. She's more, she ever since they started calling stuff on demand, she prefers to, call me her petter on demand at bedtime. It is a part of my wind-down routine, patting my sweet, sweet dog, Koa, and telling her what a great dog she is. I do. It's just part of my routine. She seems to like it. and it gives me some purpose. So I like it. Also, I enjoy petting my dog, of course. Of course, pets out there. There's nothing I would rather do than get on a hard floor, get low, and then have my. I don't think Ko directly criticizes my petting, but she does do some corrective measures. She says, "No. You how many times you petted me before? Can't you get this right?" And I said, "Well, I was just trying something new out. No. Let's just stick to the win. Just stick to what works." And go back to complimenting me on what a great dog I am in that voice like you're talking to a baby. And so that's how I go off topic. But the reason I go through what's keeping us awake is, I don't know, for me, it can just feel lonely. And then I feel like during the day, I try to tell people I can't sleep and they don't understand, or they give me advice and they don't seem to get it, and then that makes me feel more alone. Maybe that's not the case for you, but maybe there's some reassurance knowing that there's someone out there that can relate to how you feel. Even if I'm not the one, you say, Scoots, it doesn't feel that way to me. I can tell you what, there's enough people listening that I've heard from that there's people out there that can relate to how you feel, whatever flavor in the old feeling wheel that is. Maybe you, like my dog, you say, no, don't, I don't need any under the chin scratches. Get that side, and I say, is that a jowl? And she says, what are you doing, your podcast? No, just pet me. I don't need the podcast. And I said, well, but are those jowls? And she says, no, that's where, go over there, do a little scratch, and then I'll move my chin, but don't scratch my chin. And now go back to patting my head and go back to complimenting me. Thank you. Let's see if I could read dogs' minds. It'd be a lot easier. I mean, actually, I probably would code say you wouldn't want to know. Don't bother reading my mind. You won't be able to handle it. She'd say you're not emotionally equipped to handle reading my mind. It'd be pretty hard on you. So you're doing your best, but so let's just leave it at that. Don't read my mind. I'll just tell you, Scoots, it's clear you're doing your best. And so keep trying to pat me as long as possible and as much as possible. Okay, so I guess whatever's keeping me awake, there's someone out there who can relate to how you feel that's listening right now, and they're nodding. And they agree with me that you deserve a good night's sleep because they've been there in the same spot whenever they discovered the show, and then they started to become a regular listener. And so they're glad you're here. They really hope the podcast can help so that you get the rest you need and you deserve. You deserve a bedtime you don't have to dread. You deserve a bedtime with no rigmarole. So I hope I can provide that or help with that. And if I can't, there's a website, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. And it has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there. You could check that out. You say, I loathe you. In your talk about you making light of petting pets is not funny. I'd say I'm not aware. I didn't even know I had a pet critic in my brain, but apparently I do. I wasn't criticizing petting pets. Well, please don't use it as please don't use it as a moment of levity. You say, what? Is there any time that petting a pet shouldn't? I don't know. I'm sorry. There's part of my brain that has no levity, large part, actually. So, check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. But give the show a few tries if you're new. It just takes some time to get used to because it's never gets started. You probably tried a ton of stuff to help you fall asleep. You're probably frustrated. You're probably fed up. Maybe you've listened to other sleep audio. Like back when I made the show, like over 10 or 11 years ago, there wasn't such thing as a sleep podcast or a boring cast or whatever people call them now. And a lot of the sleep audio was way more serious, and it just didn't work for me. And I know it works for some people, and I'm happy about that, but I was like, how come there's not a show like a friend, like a goofball, a person that struggles even to be a good enough person to pet their pet and enjoy it, a person I can relate to, and a person that talks to their dog like a baby, but also knows their dog is silently judging them. And I'd say that, I said, there's no podcast out there like that. Even back then they said, no, there's I'm not kidding. Every time I pitched the podcast, I was like, no, probably good reason too. And then I would say, well, I'm actually making it. And then people would be like, huh, interesting. Okay. So who would have known back then that this would become a thing? But I'm glad it did, because now there's a diversity of choices, and this is just one of your choices. But for most people that listen to the show on a regular basis and have become a part of our community and stuff, once they realized it, they said, oh, the show never does get started, but this is what I've been looking for my whole life. Or this is what helped me through this big exam or this big moment or this big journey, big tough journey I'm going through right now. And that's really important to me to help. So that's why I make the show. What I do is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents, which you've seen a few of, to make a show, a podcast that you just barely listen to, kind of like background noise, that barely puts a smile on your face, and that just kind of barely makes sense. I mean, I guess the podcast really isn't that different than petting a dog. I mean, well, I guess it is. Nothing like that. But I feel like there's a metaphor there, because it's supposed to be soothing, right? Petting your dog says, hey, you're important to me. You deserve to be petted. I love you. If I was a dog, personally, I'd say, no, personally, I got issues. So I'd say, no thanks. You could just indicate, just nod your head at me. But, most dogs, they say, yeah, I'd love to be petted. And that's a way to say, hey, I do love you. I care about you. And this baby talk I'm going to use now is truthful. You are a really good girl. And I really am. You're a great dog. And this, you can't say, saying that to humans would, we don't, you're not going to have me, we're not going to be petting each other out there in the world. But this is a way to do it that's a little bit more buffered, as maybe, might be, with some space, or a version of that. Maybe not, but in the same spirit, I guess. It's hard when you can hear your dog rolling her eyes in the other room when you're trying to make metaphors and silently criticizing your petting. But, I mean, that's great for Koa. It's like there's always room for improvement in petting your dog. If you haven't heard that, put it on a pillow, because every dog, cat, and other pet everywhere could always love us more of the time, and you could always improve. But we're not criticizing you like family member, but we are a family member. But it's all done in love. Love your pets. Just love us a little bit better and more. And we'll let you know how to do that. Preferably, I know we can't have unlimited treats, but that would be great. Got distracted again. So podcast, just barely listened to it. I mean, I think that's clear. Like background noise. This podcast also doesn't put you to sleep. It's here to keep you company while you fall asleep. I'm here to be your friend, your boorbed, your boorbud, your bestie, your neighbor, your boorbur, your boorbee, your boors, your boorbra, your boor bestie. Like, there's no pressure to fall asleep with the show. The reason it's over an hour is so you could just listen and you don't have to think about when the episode's going to end. You don't have to think about when you're going to fall asleep. I'm going to be here talking to you. And I'll be here talking to you later, too. And then there's 601 episodes in the ad-supported free show. So you could just keep listening and listening and listening if you need it. So there's that. Podcast you don't listen to. Doesn't put you to sleep. Structure of the show's different. Show starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcomed in. You say, I could check that show out maybe. Then there's a long meandering intro separate from the support. There's the welcoming thing. Then there's support so the show can be free. That's how most people listen, is they listen to this ad-supported version linearly. And maybe a smaller percentage of those people use a sleep timer at 30, 45, or 60 minutes. But if you prefer to listen to the show like just the stories or just the intros, or you don't want any sponsors, there's ways to do that at Sleep With Me Plus, or for free, just by doing a little work and support, like sharing about the show at our referral program. But that's just there because that's the option that works for the most amount of people. Then there's a long meandering intro separate from the support. And the intro's there to ease you into bedtime. It could put you to sleep, but it's not designed to put you to sleep. It's designed as you get ready for bed, as you're petting your pets or, doing your bedtime routine or your wind down routine or you're in bed getting comfortable. The reality is most of us just don't fall asleep right away, and having a wind down is an important part of a bedtime routine that works. So that's what the intro's there for. If you don't like the intros, like I said, there's ways you could listen without the intro, or you could start the show 20 or 30 minutes and do it that way. Or you could fall asleep during the intro. So you could see how it goes. Then after the intro support, then there's our bedtime story multiplex. And that'll be a nice, long, meandering bedtime story. And then there's thank yous at the end. So it's a structured show. It's why I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. I work really hard. I yearn and I strive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And here's a couple of ways we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Most of you aren't just listening right now. You're driving, cleaning, and even exercising. But what if you could be saving money by switching to Progressive? Drivers who save by switching save nearly $750 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Multitask right now. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. All right, everybody, it's time for our episodically modular series, Multiplex. And Multiplex is welcome if you're new. How you doing? Don't worry. The main character of Multiplex, Boyd. Oh no, Boyd's not the main character. Wyatt. Yeah, what kind of creator doesn't know who the main character is? Narrator. Well, how did I mispronounce it? Narrator? But Wyatt is the main character. And what else? What if you're new, you never listen to one of these episodically modular series with a touch of seriality, or maybe a hint of seriality, is so this is a fictional series about a group of friends at a shopping mall on an adventure. Episodically modular seriality means it's a continuing story with a beginning, middle, and end. It was seemingly supposed to have those things over the course of the series, which would be somewhere around 12 episodes-ish. But the episodically modular portion means, I think this is episode 6 we're recording now, but everything before this, you could listen to as prequels, because the main character is going to catch you up. So you'll have everything you need to know, and then you could watch those like flashbacks or whatever and say, oh, okay, that's how they got to the point where I started listening. And episode 6 is pretty important because that was the last. Star Wars went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So don't use that as an example. But there's probably another better example. Like fantasy series, I did a test. Can't remember. It wasn't GOT, but it was another fantasy series. Definitely 1, maybe 2. I read the second book. And then I went back and read the first book. Was it Wizard's First Rule? But I think that was the first book. If it's not, then I said, well, I'm going to read it first anyway, because if it's Wizard's First Rule. Anyway, not important. The only thing that's important is you can listen to it in any order. You could go back. I mean, we do have them numbered if you really need to. So then, you could just keep listening to this one. You just don't pay attention, right? I'm just here to talk and rumble you off to dreamland. So that's what an episodically modular series is. And of course, when it's time for an episodically modular series, we love to have someone drive all the way from the greater Los Angeles area, or if he happens to be doing an event somewhere nearby. He's laughing because I don't think it was somewhere nearby. But we have our Hollywood announcer come by. Man, people have been talking about you, Antonio, saying, I saw Antonio in this, I saw him in that. And so happy to have him here because he really is a busy guy. He only does this for love of sleep. And I think he gets something out of it. I mean, I'm not trying to be self-deprecating. I guess I do believe we enjoy our time together, but I can't imagine it because I am very difficult on Antonio. I just find he's perpetually making very subtle sounds. And, you know, if there ever becomes a point where they say, you know, we need to cast somebody in this movie who's silenter than a whisper. I don't know why they say silent. That's how I describe Antonio. Oh, he's as silent as a whisper. And if you're trying to record something through a preamp, you'll know that when I say silent as a whisper, it's not, doesn't make any sense. He's almost as silent. No, he's as silent as a whisper. I guess that's a simile. But in that one, it's kind of a fact-based statement. Mr. Antonio Banderas, the friends beyond the binaries, ladies, the gentlemen, the boys, the girls, it's time for Multiplex. Clickety, clickety, clack, yeah. Thanks, Antonio. That's Antonio Banderas. This is Multiplex. Take it away, Wyatt. Good evening, everybody. My name's Wyatt, and I'm recording these memories of mine. A tale I feel has needed to be told for a long time. Now, you may be listening to this, you may not know who I am, and that's not important, but if you say, well, I'm listening because I'm a fan of Wyatt, and those brilliant public access shows that are on YouTube now, but maybe they aren't now. I don't even know. Maybe you listen to this and you say, well, I don't even know what a YouTube is. I say, okay, great. But maybe you wondered how I got the interviews. I used to do a public access show, which a lot of you might not know what that is. But it's it was a show where I'd screen movies and talk to people involved in the movies or related tangentially, or were fans of the movies, or base their lives around characters in the movies, or once acted on a show. And people used to say there was a couple of recurring characters we had. Well, they thought they were characters, and they wondered how they were recurring. And they thought it was so brilliant, and the movie makeup and all that. And I'm here to, let people know, yeah, that wasn't my brilliance, or I don't have any makeup skills. So that's one thing. But so that's not the most important part of my tale. My tale is about how 4 friends, or 3 friends and 1 acquaintance, who were on a track, seemingly from childhood, for 3 different paths to greatness. Not burdens of expectation of high achievement, but like a propellant sending them to high achievement, and how they would set off on an adventure that they didn't know at the time, where their paths would go from the idea of high flying or highfalutin to just regular. How does someone take a grand adventure and become just regular? You know, and I ain't talking about high fiber oat bran, just regular. Well, it would be, because you say, well, what is it just, high fiber oat bran does just fine on its own, in my opinion. In my opinion, Wyatt's opinion. Some reason today I'm mixed up between myself and Boyd, the corncob kid. So that's the reason I'm telling these tales, to clear things up and to give you hope. If you ever thought, what's so great about being great? I don't know the answer to that, because I only know what's so great about being me, and in the pack, I'm among, and just doing stuff. So, and yeah, they might say, boy, well, this is my public access accent, right? They say, what regional accent is that, boy? It changes a lot. I'd say, yeah, this is when you make a public access show. This is my character for public consumption. Okay, so let me set the stage if you're new to this story here. What happened? Where are we? What's going on? Start off with 3 of us. Myself, Wyatt, my best friends, Santos and Josie. I had found out recently I didn't get a scholarship to school of my own because I kind of didn't do good on what would have qualified me to get a scholarship that I thought I had locked in. So I was down because I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go on the path I thought I was set forth on. Santos and Josie, they already had their full scholarships to school and big expectations. And, we're just in that twilight of our high school years. And it was around twilight that we were playing a game of mini golf to take my mind off of the losing of the scholarship. How am I going to pay for school? How am I going to, my parents, the whole 9 yards. And after that game of mini golf, we ran into Boyd, the corncob kid who had come through a culvert under the road. A culvert, Boyd said, that led to a shopping mall. Fairglen, Fairview, why is it escaping me? But a shopping mall that had closed down sometime before. I mean, even though it's funny hearing an 18-year-old say this, like a shopping mall in my youth, that had long been since forgotten. But Boyd had been in there. Particularly, Boyd had been inside the mall and found a collection of concentrated Dr. Julius J. juice, which used to be a stand at like a stalwart of the malls, where you could get it was kind of like I don't know, I never had one. I think maybe I had a taste of one when one of my parents got it, but it was like orange juice. I always thought it was orange juice and milk blended together, which makes no sense. But it was like some sort of creamy orange juice, maybe with pineapple. Anyway, wasn't real orange. It was concentrate, or it was some sort of concentrate based on real juices, I believe. But since Julius J. Juice had gone out of business, this concentrate, which came in cans, made to last for a very long time, was valuable. And this was before the internet, but there was still bulletin boards and those kind of things. And Boyd had people willing to buy this stuff, alt.julius.juice or something like the fans. I don't know how any of that worked, but they were willing to buy cans of this concentrate at a premium because it wasn't much out there in the world. And Boyd said, all I need help with is getting the juice concentrate cans out of the mall, through the culvert, into a truck, and then into my garage where I could, we could hold on. We can work out who holds them. And we'll sell them, and we'll split the money. I think the arrangement was Boyd gets 50%, and then we would split the rest to the other side of the 50%. But there was a lot of cans of it. And to our best deduction, this was abandoned merchandise. The company was out of business, the mall was out of business. And enough time had passed that if someone, there was no Dr. Julius J. Juice, that was only an imaginary figure. But if there was a Dr. Julius J. Juice, all the assets had already been, taken care of. So this was basically like an advanced form of jumping, going through, and you say, well, I own my garbage. Okay, well, anyway. Let's just say it was a gray area, but it wasn't too gray for, we're pretty honest kids. But we went in the mall to get that juice. So snuck in the mall. There's a couple things that we thought were strange, extra fencing that looked pretty new. Some of the fencing facing the inside of the mall. We eventually went into the World of Cutlery, ran into a worker there who needed us to retrieve a missing item from the World of Cutlery. There, we met a mommy who needed to be reconstructed anatomically and with socks and to find their way back into a movie in the Multiplex, the mommy movie. And we've initially, at this point, still believe that it was part of a immersive theater opportunity. There was different times probably obvious to you listening that there's some holes in that theory, but, we were just 18 and this is pretty mind-boggling. So we helped this mommy reestablish its physical being. We thought it was a puppet. I mean, on some level, I didn't think it was a puppet, but and we had to help it get back into its movie. Movie then became a serial, and it could only get in the movie at the right time, at the right moment, in the right conditions. That's what it needed our help for. Again, like you would call a get out of this room thing, adventure. or an immersive theater adventure. So we helped that mommy, and we got the missing thing returned to the world of cutlery. And then we tried to get out of there, get the juice. We had given some of the juice to the mommy, juice concentrate. Some of the mall was closed, and so our options were limited. Also, we had slept, but we were still on this adventure. The next thing we encountered, as we were just trying to get out of the mall, was someone named Franny. Franny was the ultimate companion. What do you call that? Combination of famous beings. Again, with this anatomy stuff, but combined to be an ultimate companion to hang around with by Victor or Victoria or somebody. I mean, I know because I read the book and I loathe the person that did this in the book. It's just my opinion, though. And Franny needed our help. Now, Franny wanted to become Mistress of Iron. She had gone to Spence's Gifts and seen the posters of the Mistress of Iron, the black velvet posters, and thought, hey, I want to be the Mistress of Iron. Also, Franny had remembered that in the laboratory where Franny became the ultimate human companion, not like a dog companion, and not like a companion you could talk to. I guess it was the original goal. I think it was a large ego Victor who said, this is what I think the world needs, without thinking it totally through. But Franny was frustrated because Franny had been not accepted as the ultimate companion, because Franny's when you combine a bunch of different people together, especially when those people are historical figures that have since moved on from the earthly realm, that's not a kind of visual that most people are comfortable having as their companion. And so Franny was very frustrated, and that's why Franny wanted to become the Mistress of Iron, to go and dominate the people, or to force them to see. Oh, and also use lights and lightning light type stuff, because that's the flashy part of the movie, or the story, I guess the movie in this case. And also Spence, everybody that works at Spence is named Spence. It's like one of their gimmicks, I guess. More than a gimmick, apparently. But, so someone at Spence said, hey, I need what do you call it? The black lights, because I can't leave work. Oh, because Franny had broken all the black lights at Spence's. So we went to this is where we met Franny, at the Transistor Tiki Hut, where Josie used to work. They sell black lights and other items like that. That's where we met Franny, heard Franny's story. Now, I'll be honest, a little bit disappointed in myself and everybody. We started to gather the lights. We got Franny distracted, and then we tried to leave the mall unsuccessfully. And I think that's where I left off in my tale. We were just going to ditch Franny and Spence and this immersive theater. But, we'd been in this immersive theater for 36 hours, more than maybe not, maybe 24. I don't even know. We'd lost track of time. But so we were kind of a tails between our legs. We had to go back. The only door we had access to was the back door of the Transistor Tiki Hut, where you could buy radio. It became a place where you could buy everything. But, and we went back, and Franny was still there. And Franny was still trying to set up the lights. We'd had a long discussion again of how we were going to handle this. So I don't need to get into that. Should we just leave Franny again, sneak by Franny, leave? No, clearly we need to help Franny and Spence, and then we'll be able to get out of the mall. Also, Spence had keys to the back door of Spence's. Okay, so we went back there, and Franny, I can't remember where I last tell, and some of this all, kind of clouds together. But Franny had all the lights and was getting really intense. So first thing we did was calm Franny down and say, okay, we're here to help. Sorry, we got, we'll be, we were trying to leave, to be honest. And that kind of let Franny feel again like another set of humans letting me down. We said, okay. And then we realized we also have to help Spence. So we decided with Franny, we said, hey, let's bring all this in front of the Mistress of the Iron. Because Spence's has a room or like a place curtained off area with posters, mostly Mistress of Iron posters that when you have black lights on them, they glow in the dark and look really cool. So we went back there and then we kind of started getting everything set up. Spence was not there. And there was a sign like, no worries, Spence is on break. I said, okay, well, anyway. So we started plugging in all the black lights we'd taken. Josie left an invoice, even though we realized, well, it's not this whole mall. Why is there even inventory? Oh, well, it's probably part of this game. Maybe we should leave an invoice then, since Josie used to work there. Invoicing Spence's for the missing black lights and plasma domes and all that stuff, lava lamps. So we got everything set up right, and then we said, okay, Franny, because this was a difficult part, because this is pomp and circumstance, really, because the black lights and all that stuff weren't going to, we said, what do you want to get out of this? I want to have the same powers as Mistress of Iron. And then we realized, but we got to bring you back to your movie. And so we took some more time at this point. I mean, because we had to walk back from, take a couple trips. We had to set everything up. So instead of just doing it silently, we had Franny talking the whole time. And also we had to read the book that the movie was based on in high school. This movie is just called Franny, and they said, okay, well, Franny is like unhappy. Franny was supposed to be the ultimate companion. Everywhere Franny went, people ran and yelled and yelled and yelled. And even when Franny was supposed to, I tried to discuss philosophy, tried to sing, tried to be of service, and help them with chopping wood and stuff. We said, oh yeah, we remember that was in the book. And we none of us had seen the movie, by the way. And it kind of worked out that it's like, okay, so Franny's just not visually likable, unfortunately, and misunderstood, definitely, even though Franny was a bit much. I mean, but under circumstances, we could see that, that was reasonable. And if you read the book, Franny's behavior is very reasonable. You say, okay, Franny, I'm on your side. Don't worry. And so we kind of remember, and, for the shopping mall, no, we didn't have, right now, most of the gates of the shopping mall were down. So we had access to just this one section of the mall, but there was still, we said, what about a makeover, right? And first we tried doing a makeover just at Spence's. Now, Spence's has a limited selection of clothing based on people that, at this time, wanted to be like a Mistress of Iron. But the actual people that would hang with the Mistress of Iron probably don't shop at Spence's, or listen to the Mistress of Iron. She's a rock band, metal band. So, but we did that first. And we went back to the movie, left all the black lights and all that stuff. So we said, okay, now we could go back and Spence will be happy too. And we put Franny back in the film, right? We'd already done this with the mommy. So it wasn't that difficult. And quickly we found that Franny, being like the Mistress of Iron, did not help. So no medal in whatever year it was, 18, whatever year. I don't know where the setting of the film is, 19. Should have known that. So then again we said, okay, well, what if we try to put you in something a little bit more plain? And I can't remember where the first store we went to was. And then we said, okay, we got to watch a movie anyway with Franny. So we watched it one time without Franny in there. And then we watched and we said, okay, Franny, we think we know what we're doing. So you just go in dressed in this kind of plain thing and we'll watch. We kind of remember from the book. And, the whole movie builds to when everybody decides, oh, no, not Franny, and Victoria It was a team. I think that was like in the movie, it was a team, where in the book it was just Victor, right? And I don't think in the book, Victor, skates in the book, but in the movie, everybody decides we're going to go to the big, castle and there's going to be a big ending. So we watched the whole movie with and without Franny in it, and trying to figure out, well, where we put Franny in it. And then we thought about our favorite part in the, because there's parts that are not easy, right? So Franny, in the movie, and they took this from the book, probably the most powerful emotional moment. And the book, I'll just combine the two images because it's important. So in the book, Franny kind of lives outside of this cottage in this edge of town where this family lives. And the family's not in great shape, They could use some help, maybe the help from an ultimate companion. But Franny's already learned the hard way that people aren't necessarily accepting of Franny. So Franny just lays in this broken down, we'll just say a broken down mill right at the edge of their property. Nobody goes there. Even the kids don't go there and play for some reason. So Franny just lays there all day watching. And then Franny realizes where they need help. And then while they're sleeping, Franny starts helping and, chopping their wood, bringing fresh water, and just leaving it. Kind of like in fairy tales, right? We say, oh, boy, the forest sprites are leaving our water and our wood. And these people, they were a little bit more people-centric. So they said, oh, there must be people that really care about us, and they're anonymous. And then in the movie and the book, Franny breaks, Franny's anonymity at some point. Says, well, I've helped these people to get to a point where they're flourishing almost, but still in great need of my help. Of course they're going to embrace me with open arms. In the movie, Franny decides, I'll even read you a bedtime story to one of the kids. And that's just what sets off the entire final chain of the events of the film. But also in the movie, they did have the scene where people become aware of Franny, and they say, no, we can't accept you as you're too different, Franny. I'm sorry. They don't say I'm sorry or anything. They just react. And I'll tell you what, after watching the movie twice, none of us, we'd already had a strong distaste for Victor. Now we had a strong distaste for the townspeople, particularly the people of this cottage. And so it was a little difficult to help Franny because we were like, maybe you should just go back there and we should just change the entire plot of the story. But and be honest, we tried it. Didn't work. Plus, Franny was like, no, I like these people, even though they're not nice to me. Then what we did, which is pretty standard, we'd already tried metal look for Franny. We tried sending Franny back in a lot of different ways. So a lot of different outfits, as soft as possible, entertaining, uplifting, whatever we could design or find clothing, which is even in the section mall. We could say, well, the sock puppet thing worked in the last one. Is there anything we can do to diffuse this human reaction and have them deal with it in a different way? Did not work. And we started to get really unhappy. And again, we really felt for Franny, but Franny was also fed up, and we were fed up with the people in the movie. But there's something about us four that in the face of that difficulty, it became like a puzzle where you're missing like a jigsaw puzzle where you're missing a few of the pieces that you need to figure out what the pieces you have are for. And those pieces are missing, and you dedicate yourself to searching everywhere for those missing pieces that aren't on the table. You see, we almost know what this picture, this puzzle is. Clearly something is missing. We need to find these pieces. They must be somewhere on the floor, maybe in the couch cushion, maybe in someone's sock. By the way, Santos, remember that? So we're also approaching it from that sort of level, or channeling our frustration mostly into solving it. But at this point, we were pacing around the mall. We had free range. What do? We kept checking Spence's to see if Spence was there. No sign of Spence. And we're all standing in front of the Mistress of Iron. Oh, what was interesting? Franny's a performer in this immersive theater. It was a human, and we were assuming it was a human in costume, right? Performing as this amalgamation of famous people made to be the ultimate companion for humans, created by Victor and Victoria in a film. Okay, so what happened? We were trying to think, and we were trying to think of anything we could do. Where had we gone wrong? And two things came together. One, we were going through everything at Spence's because we didn't care at this point. And Josie found the Spence's employee guidebook, not a handbook, not rule book, a guidebook. And it talked about guides versus rules versus suggestions. That was one part. And then Boyd kind of started to relate. And Boyd told us a story of, because Boyd was really into this, right? Because Boyd was not in the in crowd like we were. Boyd was the corncob kid. And Boyd said to us, you know what, did you ever know how I became the corncob kid? And Santos hadn't been there, but Josie and I had. We said, you transferred to our school, and you had overalls. Did you have like a straw hat? And Boyd was laughing at this, even though this is really what Josie kind of remembered. Overalls, no shirt, no shoes, and a piece of wheat between your teeth. So with maybe a straw hat Boyd said, no. Well, some of that's true. And I said, I remember your corncob pipe that you still have. And Boyd said, pipes, because these are pipes you don't smoke, like not like that kind of smoke. And they used to give kids corncob pipes at the pipe store for free or a huge discount to look cool. They weren't for blowing bubbles. They were just for keep it in your mouth. And they're like Boyd said, yeah. I was so on the outs at that school that my father gave me a corncob pipe to soothe myself. And he goes, but yeah, I was corncob kid, not the corncob kid. And we had, oh yeah, corncob kid. We had different rhymes about it. Not nice, kids. This was in 5th, 6th, 7th grade. We all have regrets, right, of how we behaved. And we started to see the regrettable behavior we had behaved and how it impacted Boyd. Boyd said, yeah, but the corncob pipe still soothed me. So I kept at it. And at some point my parents helped and I got other help from the school counselor. And I realized, I could be okay with not, being as okay as I wanted to be. And that I could adjust. And then, it was unfortunate, but you guys were just kids being kids. And I could embrace, where I was and all that. And as Boyd went from being a preteen, or the stages of growth, Boyd became a little bit more of a stronger figure. And Boyd said, yeah, at some point I became the corncob kid because I was the corncob kid in my mind first. And we said, what do you mean? And we're going to have to explain it better. And Boyd says, like playing a role. And this was so these two things happened at the same time. Josie's going through the Spence handbook. Boyd is laying out organic life lessons from being corncob kid to the corncob kid. And playing that role and learning, sometimes it doesn't feel, being a teen and an adolescence, and doesn't always feel good. And wanting to be accepted and seen and loved and all that. And then Josie's reading the difficulties of being a teen or in your 20s and being in the service business and embodying the Spence style for Spence's gifts. Boyd was talking about acceptance and caring and cared for, and the idea that the corncob kid was totally okay with not being okay, with uncertainty, with other people having strong feelings and Boyd having strong feelings. And the Spence's handbook was laying out stuff like, it's a process, man. Don't fake it, but play it like you made it or something. I can't even remember. And like Spence doesn't care what others think, but cares about what others are thinking. And now when we're all like, wait a second, what? Is that like what Boyd's talking about? I guess I kind of felt bad for Franny at this point. But basically, as we started to pick apart this stuff, it became clear that two things became clear. That sometimes, like, because I think the whole thing of Spence's was being of service like you don't care about the result. And we thought about the people at Spence's, Spence, like, that we had admired from afar, or other people in our life, like JJ, the drummer, or other people that were like, they didn't care whether they were likable or not. They didn't like, or maybe they did, but on the outside, at least the what they projected was similar. I mean, this was subtler, going from Corncob Kid to the Corncob Kid. So now we started to think of real examples, like kids that didn't graduate from our school that were in the grades ahead of us, JJ the drummer being one of them. JJ did graduate top of class, but I'm using examples like JJ never wore a shirt to school till it was and then just JJ will put on a shirt then. Like people, and this could happen in gradations too, right? Some of these people were really nice or were neutral, and some of them were like too cool for school. But they didn't seem to think about it, right? They just were. And again, to go back, seeing it laid out in the Spence's thing of like guidelines, like, yes, Spence is here to help, whether like you appreciate the help or not. The fact that you helped is appreciated by Spence. And so then we got this idea, right? Like, okay, can we do this for Franny? And we were like, okay, so Franny, this is how it's going to work. And we're putting aside all the outfits and all that, and we're going to send you back. And you're like, you'll care. We know you care if the people are going to want you as ultimate companion or not. And we all care that you were doing all this hard work for this family at the edge of this town, and they just took it for granted. And yeah, like in the Spence handbook, Spence draws the line at bad behavior and says, please step outside. We're running Spence's here. You could shop somewhere else. Like, so we were trying to figure out what that boundary was, right? But we said, you go back, you be a laborer for the love of the labor, and you love the people, right? But what if you loved them and loved the service regardless of outcome? Now, this is hard to handle, right? So I have no idea how many times we had to do this in the movie. It never worked as a thing. How do you forget about that kind of stuff? We figured maybe we'll be here 3 years, but it was on the third time that didn't work that, and every time it doesn't work, Franny comes out of the movie. So on the third time Franny was there, we were there, flash of light at the end of the movie. We said, we're missing something. And again, we had a big debate. Maybe these people, maybe we pass on assisting them. And we said, no, that can't be it. That can't be it. And then what was weird is we heard in the mall, because again, we were pacing around. Also, we were eating and drinking. Water fountains worked, all that. It was still one of the pretzel places. Didn't have, anyway, not important. But so we heard some of the gates in the mall, the inside of the mall open, not the outside. And we said, okay, this is another area where we're like, maybe we just leave, go back to the world of cutlery, get out of the mall, figure out another way out of this mall, put Franny back in the movie. But that was cursory, right? Then we're just like the people in the movie, right? And it doesn't seem very Spencing. Plus, we wanted to see Spence again. So we said, okay, that's not an option. And, then it was just kind of weird. It seemed like a one-off comment, but Franny said, I kind of liked dressing up. And again, this was where we figured, oh, this is a puzzle. This is a jigsaw puzzle we're trying to solve. We have one piece. Now the puzzle is giving us the next piece, kind of like when your strategies you use. because we figured, we forgot this was this immersive adventure. Now Franny's giving us a clue. The door's opened. We got to find Franny something because maybe if Franny felt more comfortable. And so we started walking the mall, but we were focused on, and again, we should have known, like there's mannequins in the stores and everything. Other than the stores that just were under construction, and we start walking through there, right? Looking for something that sticks out to Franny, and what feels like feels Franny, right? And finally, we come to the store, we pass it, and Franny says, whoa, back there. The store is called We Got the Funk. I think DA. Oh, no, we got the WG. We got the funk. WGDF. But it also said We Got the Funk. And I don't remember this store, but it kind of makes sense in the timeline. And it definitely makes sense if this was a game, right? This was a store dedicated to funk, and the funk aesthetic. There was so it was mostly clothing, but there was also gifts, decor, records, tapes. I don't know if this was in CDs. I can't remember that. They would have looked like tapes anyway, kind of in a long package. Posters, you say, what, you might not know what funk is. It'd say, like, disco, if disco was cool, that's funk. So there was disco balls and glitter and, of course, posters. And the posters are the great, you'll see what happened. So we said, okay, Franny. And then we did like a mini montage of Franny dressing in different funk outfits, also trying to say, well, you got to be mobile because you're still going to have to be able to chop wood and carry water and help them with their livestock and find the lost cat, all the adventures in the movie, and maybe run back up to the castle. Hope you don't have to do that, though. We got to something where Franny said, this feels right. And it was very funky, formal, semi-formal funk. And we laughed a lot. And at first Franny was confused, but this was kind of like the thing with the corncob kid. And Boyd kind of had to explain it to us. Like, this is good. Like a laughing with versus laughing at. Because we said, this is ridiculous. We have an amalgamation, someone dressed up, so we thought, as an amalgamation of beings, post-earthly, but famous people, to, walk around and, but then we said, holy cow, platform shoes. In the movie, you had platform shoes originally. I think that was so Franny would tower over everybody like the incredible grouchy guy, green grouchy guy in the comic books. But so then Franny was funkified. And, Franny could go so whatever. Franny felt good. I guess that's the key thing. So we went back to the movie and we waited and we said, okay, Franny, remember, you're going to get in there. You're going to live in the old collapsed mill and watch people and love the people. And you're going to serve the people because you love them, not because they're good people. Obviously, they're not great. And you're going to draw the boundary. These are the things we've learned through the other ones that probably I didn't explain good. If you can always move on to help another group of people and not keep helping them. If they don't appreciate it, move on and help somebody else. Because that's how Franny ended up finding the lost cat. So there was some new scenes in the movie that we had discovered or created or whatever, using the time travel film principle on a loop, we'd learn from them helping the mommy. And it did take a couple slips by Franny, because Franny actually did have to move on from the family and then go back. But this one, the second time, Franny went back and they said, what are you? And whatever, like Franny said, I was the one helping you the whole time, like with all this wood and stuff. Well, why'd you stop? And Franny said, oh, other people need my help too, man. And very funky, also doubly interesting, because Franny already was pretty interesting, but now in a world without funk, Franny had brought they were like, are you from another world? And Franny goes, this was the improv dialogue, I think. Feels like it. And they said, why'd you help us in the first place? Because I felt like it. Why'd you stop helping us? Felt like helping somebody else. Well, do you feel like helping us again? We still need more wood and water. And Franny said, I don't know. You know what I do know is there's this big castle up the hill, tons of rooms. Want to come up there with me? And whatever, Franny started gathering a couple of these people that lived on the outskirts of this town that Franny had helped. Franny said, maybe we could all work together, and you could come. And then suddenly Franny was like this Pied Piper. Well, that's a wrong analogy, because they weren't going anywhere. I mean, other than that, Victor and Victoria also lived in the castle in the movie. But that'll come later, because in a second I'm gonna explain everything, right? But we knew, right, that we were watching this. Franny had been successful. The people were smiling and following Franny. In the past, they were running after Franny. And they were like, they said, can we go back to our house? And Franny said, yeah, anytime. We'll go, come see the castle. We'll figure it out. Because then they're talking about, okay, these people keep losing their cat. Oh, the kids could find the cat okay, we need wood, water. And finally, they get to the castle, right? And this is where everything changed. And I forgot that this is what had happened last time. That it went from like this live action thing to this animated style. So Franny knocks on the door of the castle. All these people are behind Franny. And then when Franny knocks on the door, it cuts to this animated sequence, and Victor and Victoria are in the castle. And they have all their equipment, but instead of like an amalgamated being that they're raising up to the ceiling with the lightning bolts and the black light, it's a giant bowl of cereal. And they're talking about cereal domination. And finally, this is the most beloved cereal in the land. I don't know. I think it was whatever the cereal was from the last one. And we're going to finally do that. And once we, and put our power into it, it'll be Victor and Victoria's victory of V's or something. And we'll dominate all the land. So, but the door had opened, right? So we could see Franny and the people behind Franny watching this, and then Franny came in. Now, at this point, Franny was even more funkified with a keytar, not a guitar. And then, it was kind of like Franny said, but started playing on the keytar. And then Victor and Victoria were like, what is that noise? And Franny said, this is a funky situation. I don't know the dialogue. I don't remember. I was there watching it. I just remember the details. But something like that. This is a funky situation. And then suddenly dropping out of the ceiling and then out of the crowd of people become like some of the members of Funkadelic, right? And the irony is they start playing a funk version of a Mistress of Iron song. And they say, we're going to put a stop to this cereal, blah, blah, blah. And then you see the giant bowl of V cereal. Franny and the members of Funkadelic jump up on the lip of the bowl, and they're playing funk music and dancing. And then all these different multicolored, but very stylized, like bolts of lightning start hitting the cereal, like with each note of funky music. And then Franny starts alliterating. Franny's finally time. Franny's funky flakes. They become these like pink flakes, like Franny's funky frosted frosting. I don't know, something like that. A lot of F's. Almost a tongue twister. And then at the end, like you see the cereal, all the people come in, they already have spoons. They have the color changing spoons that were the free gift in the cereal, because this was like a cereal vignette to become. And then the last thing that happens is that on the side of the bowl, one of Franny says the name of the cereal. Then you see the box of cereal, like appears out of the ground in front of Victor and Victoria. And then on the side of the bowl is Bootsy Collins, but Bootsy Collins goes, it's Boots Mellows, or something like that. And then they just play this last note, like the end of a cereal commercial. And we knew that Franny had found a home, and then we also knew that we were really tired. So again, very similar last time. We were like wiped, and so we laid down and rested in the chairs of this theater. Another theater in the Multiplex. And we knew for Franny, and like all was going to be well until next time. Heard about Scoots. I just wanted to thank the people that joined or moved over to Sleep With Me Plus recently. Brock, David, and Nicole. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. James, William, Adam, and Bling. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Megan, Jordan, and Jamie. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Thought, Claire, and Chris. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Kwame, Abby, and Janice. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Jeannie, Ellen, and Amy. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Elliot, Seth, and Ann. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Natalie, Thomas, and Julie. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Cheryl, Debbie, and Rachel. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. And Myrna, William, and Trevor. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Thanks everybody who supports the show directly on Sleep With Me Plus. And to everybody that supports the show on Apple Podcasts or supports the sponsors, I really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without all of you. And this will be Scoots with like a preview of what's been, weeks in review or month in review or a Tuck You In sponsor. Thanks. All right, everybody, this is Scooter. This is Weeks in Review, and this is where I run through my Weeks in Review stuff, what was on Sleep With Me Plus in the past month, and what you can expect to see on in the public feed too. Now, I have if you sign up for Sleep With Me Plus or you're already signed up for Sleep With Me Plus, I highly recommend using a podcast app that allows search within the feeds, but using just one podcast app for Sleep With Me Plus content only. And then keeping your other podcasts, your daytime podcasts, in whatever app you use now. And I would just check out a couple podcast apps you could choose from on Apple are Overcasts, iCatcher, Pocket Casts. And on Android, you could try out Pocket Casts or Podcast Addict. For this example, I have the only thing I have in my app is I think this is I think this is the Boar Friends level. I have 4 podcasts, the ad-free full episodes, the story-only episodes, and nothing in Sleep With Me Plus has ads except for the really old episodes in the archives. We got the story-only versions of the show, the all-intro, all-night versions of the show, and then the bonus episodes. So let's start with the bonus episodes, actually. So Saturday, a new Posty episode came out. It was one that Russell loved, and that came out, and that's in the bonus feed. You know, some people like listening to the Posty Super Deluxe episodes during the day. Some people sleep to them. And, so that one is in the bonus feed. And then looks like we got a bonus coming out for Boar Besties and Boar Friends on Thursday of this week, which is it's April 15th when I'm recording this. And then we have another Posty Super Deluxe came out a couple weeks ago. That was a picnic lunch with Scooter. And that's in the bonus feed. And that makes just so much easier for those of you that don't like automate your playlist or anything, just to kind of build and choose how you want to listen. Let's pop into all intro, all night episodes. I know all intro episode is coming out this Thursday. Last Thursday was Make Great Pets Season 1 Part 2, almost 6 hours. It's about the max length we can get and have a good file size. So that was like 7 episodes of Make Great Pets. April 3rd, all intro episode came out. And then we had March is that bonus episodes. There was another all intro episode. So that's in the all intro all night feed. And again, like so much easier, like these all intros. Is that what everything that's in there? 277 episodes split between all. So if you love all intros, I bet 200 of those are all intros, maybe even more. And then in the store, both in the story only episode feed and then in the all ad free feed, let's run through the new episodes. Bring It On week started last week. So we had 1254 was our first watch along where I watched half of the movie Bring It On. Wednesday was 1253, Ben Broughton, the Crayon Rambler. That was one of those episodes that had an intro. They said I should make an episode based on this intro. Went to make an episode based on the intro, and it went in even another direction of what if there was an RPG game based on the movie Bring It On, which led me to figure out I never watched Bring It On. Let me learn more. Then I ended up watching Bring It On. Then April 7th was our Alba Salix, like we're getting ready, big announcement if I haven't made it anywhere. We're going to do 3 seasons of a crossover with Alba Salix. So that's cool. So, that's something we're looking forward to doing. And, that was episode 1 of that. Or that was the one we did originally. Then 1252 was the finale of the Great British Bake Off. And episode 10. Then Multiplex 5, Tiki Transistor Hut. That was a good one. 1250, one of my favorite episodes probably in the past few years, a Wildy Wonka tour that came out of like some news articles about the experience. And I said, this has got to be an episode. And that will be a series. I mean, like a recurring thing. Then Great British Bake Off, episode 9, Patissier. And Multiplex episode 4. And then we're back to our last audio news. So it's everything. Again, if you ever need support at supercast.com is there to help you. Though if you're listening to this episode, I'm assuming you're not like, you don't need support. But if you do, and the other thing is like, this is my main way to communicate. I learned this on Patreon. Most people just don't read their emails from Supercast or from me, and most people aren't on our Discord or follow our social media. And so these messages are how the majority of supporters get their information. I do it in a sleepy voice because there's like, I put it at the end of the free show too. But this is a kind of key way, but these episodes are easy to skip, especially if you're just using one podcast app, right, and building your playlists from that podcast app. So, yeah, thanks, everybody, for supporting the show. Reach out if you have any feedback at sleepingmepodcast.com. If you need support at supercast.com. And good night.